Greetings, friends. Today I want to take you to a place where the earth itself turned against humanity. A single morning, when the ground began to shake, the sea pulled back, and entire cities vanished in minutes. This is the story of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. Not just the waves you've seen on television, but the silent warning signs, the human moments, and the aftermath that changed the world. On December 26, 2004, millions of people across South and Southeast Asia were beginning their day. It was the day after Christmas. Beaches were full, hotels were crowded, fishermen were heading out to sea, families were celebrating holidays. No one knew that deep beneath the Indian Ocean, one of the most powerful earthquakes ever recorded was about to occur. At 7:58 a.m. local time, the Earth's crust ruptured along a massive fault line near the coast of Sumatra, Indonesia. The earthquake measured between 9.1 and 9.3 on the Richter scale. It lasted nearly 10 minutes. The seafloor was violently lifted by several meters, displacing billions of tons of water. That movement created a tsunami. But out in the open ocean, the waves were almost invisible. They moved fast, nearly 800 kilometers per hour, but rose only a few centimeters high. Ships didn't notice anything unusual. On land, people felt the shaking. Buildings swayed, walls cracked, power lines fell. In some places, people ran outside. In others, they went back to sleep. No tsunami warning system existed in the Indian Ocean at the time. No sirens sounded, no alerts were sent, no evacuation orders were given. The ocean began to move. Along the coasts of Indonesia, Thailand, Sri Lanka, India, and several other countries, the sea pulled back suddenly. Water retreated hundreds of meters. The ocean floor was exposed. Fish flopped on the sand. Coral reefs lay bare. Some people were confused. Some were curious. Children ran forward to collect fish. A few elders recognized the sign. They screamed for people to run. Then the waves arrived. In Aceh, Indonesia, the closest major population to the epicenter, the tsunami struck within minutes. Waves over 30 meters high slammed into the coastline. Entire neighborhoods were erased. Concrete buildings were torn from their foundations. Cars, boats, and people were swept inland like toys. There was no time to escape. In Thailand, the waves hit popular tourist beaches. Luxury resorts became death traps. Tourists and locals alike were caught off guard. In Sri Lanka, a passenger train known as the Queen of the Sea was struck by the tsunami. Over 1,700 people died, the deadliest train disaster in history. In India, coastal villages vanished. Fishing communities were wiped out. Children were torn from their parents' arms. The waves traveled thousands of kilometers. Even Africa felt their force. In Somalia, Kenya, and Tanzania, villages along the coast were destroyed hours later, long after the earthquake had ended. The ocean did not stop. In some places, multiple waves struck. People who survived the first were killed by the second. The water carried debris, fuel, chemicals, and bodies. Fires broke out. Diseases spread. By the end of the day, over 230,000 people were dead across 14 countries. Millions were displaced. Entire communities were gone. The scale of destruction was overwhelming. Survivors searched through rubble for loved ones. Parents searched for children. Children searched for parents. Many never found them. Mass graves were dug. Bodies were cremated. Identities were lost. Hospitals were destroyed. Doctors were missing. Clean water was scarce. The world watched in shock. International aid poured in. Rescue teams arrived. Helicopters dropped supplies. But for many, help came too late. Some survivors were found days later, dehydrated, injured, traumatized. Others were never found at all. In the aftermath, stories emerged of survival against impossible odds. Children who clung to palm trees for hours, families who floated on debris through flooded towns, communities that saved themselves by running to higher ground because someone remembered an old story about the sea pulling back. The tsunami revealed something painful. Nature does not warn us the way we expect. It does not negotiate. It does not care about borders, wealth, or technology. But it also revealed something else: humanity's lack of preparedness. Scientists knew that a massive earthquake was possible in the region, but warnings were not prioritized, systems were not funded, lives were not protected. After the disaster, everything changed. The Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning System was created. Sensors, buoys, and communication networks were installed. Countries began sharing data. Education programs taught coastal communities to recognize natural warning signs. Because sometimes the only warning you get is the ocean going silent. Today, many of the affected regions have rebuilt, resorts returned, cities recovered, tourists came back. But scars remain. Thousands of children grew up without parents. Thousands of parents live with loss that never fades. Memorials stand along the coasts, names etched in stone, dates that will never be forgotten. December 26th. The Indian Ocean tsunami was not just a natural disaster. It was a lesson written in water. A reminder of how fragile life is, how quickly everything can disappear, how important it is to listen, not just to technology, but to nature itself. Because when the ocean pulls back, it is not giving a gift.